All right, well, it is 4 o'clock on the dot, and I want to go ahead and get started because I have a lot of really awesome information to share with you guys today. But as people kind of filter in, I have put a few links in the chat, including a link to this presentation, as well as the resources we're going to be going through today together. All of that information is in that Google Drive folder, and it will be emailed out to all of you after the presentation today. You'll get an email tomorrow with the recording of this presentation, as well as the slides and all the accompanying information that we talk about today. Thank you all so much. Kind of just as a general statement here, thank you so much for the joining us today for How To Tuesday. This is our monthly webinar series where we talk a lot about different resources and how to incorporate the library into your research practices, as well as how to get in touch with us. So we are so glad that everyone is here today to talk a little bit about Google Scholar. This is a hot topic, I think, for a lot of students and a lot of faculty, because Google Scholar is a great resource for you to use. And I want to talk to you about a few different things. But today we'll kind of go through our slides here. We're going to just talk a little bit in general about what is Google Scholar and why should I use it? What's the difference between Google Scholar and the resources that we have to offer at the library? We're also going to talk about the features and tools that you absolutely should be utilizing as you begin utilizing Google Scholar. It works a little bit differently than normal Google, and it works a little bit differently than our library databases. So I'm so glad that you're all here to learn the tools and learn the features that you can use them effectively. And then finally, we'll talk about some resources to help and give you guys a chance to get your questions answered by me. Feel free to follow along as we go through this, or feel free to bookmark that folder and come back another time to it. All right. We'll go ahead and kind of jump in. To start, I kind of want to just see where is everyone at? So I'm going to launch a Google Scholar poll here. And I just want you to tell me, have you ever used Google Scholar before? Have you used it pretty successfully? You're like super in-depth, you know, all the nooks and crannies, or maybe you have used it before, but you're not quite sure how you can make Google Scholar like really work for you, and why we might want to use it. So it looks like we have quite a few that have said yes, but you want to learn more, which is awesome. You're in the right place for sure. And then some of you guys have never used Google Scholar, so that's really good to know. Again, Google Scholar is a great resource, but it's one of those things where if you don't learn how to use it, it can sometimes be frustrating and sometimes be a little bit confusing for students and faculty alike as they begin to start to do that. So thanks for answering that poll to get kind of an overview of how people are doing here. I think I shared the results with you guys, so you can kind of see we have about 50-50 split here. So it's kind of fun. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump in to our workshop. And really the main question I get is, what is Google Scholar? Why is it different than Google? And why should we use it? So Google Scholar is really similar to our library databases in that it searches journal articles and conference papers and theses and dissertations and academic books and prints and abstracts and all kinds of really good stuff, similar to our library databases. But it's different from Google in that it doesn't search the full web for websites and different things like that. And it's also different than our library databases, because our library databases show journals, right? We subscribe to certain databases which provide access to journals. And inside of those journals, we have just, the normal articles from each journal. But Google Scholar is a little bit different because it's going to bring in some different kinds of resources. And it really looks at just the article itself rather than saying, oh, there's all of these journals and here's what's inside each of them. So again, this is a really great option to look through some more interesting types of resources, such as things from academic publishers and university repositories. These are indexed really well, or they're listed really well on Google Scholar. There's also our standard scholarly articles that are available across the web that are kind of free and open access. Those are indexed really well as well. It also has, court opinions and patents. So if that's something you're interested in, this would be a really great resource for you as well. So that's kind of the reason we would want to look at Google Scholar. We would kind of be interested in seeing how it differs from, our traditional library resources. So let's go ahead and take a jump and look at all the different resources and features that Google Scholar has. There's three really key ones that I kind of want to talk through, and then we'll jump into Google Scholar and we will actually look at how we implement those practically within the actual platform. The first is our library integration. So the thing that's really cool about Google Scholar is when you look at all of the web, Google Scholar is going to pull everything that's related to your search. However, you might not have access to all of those. It might be pulling articles or resources that you don't have access to if you're just looking on Google Scholar alone. But as you know, the Park Library subscribes to lots and lots of databases and resources, and we provide those to you for free. So if you have your library integration installed into Google Scholar, you can see what listings we have, and that way you find it on Google Scholar and you can be transferred to our website, so you don't have to pay for the article. There's also a lot of ways to engage smarter searching techniques on our search results. I think it's a big misconception for students that they think that Google Scholar is somehow like easier than using library databases, when it's really just different, right? They use different conventions. They use a few different syntax or tactics to find and narrow your results. The same thing that we do in the library databases. But this, again, the real reason you should be using Google Scholar is to find open access and digital resources that you might not have access to in a library website, rather than saying, oh, I think Google Scholar will be easier, because I think that that's a fallacy. It's not always easier. But I will give you the tools and the techniques today to learn how to utilize Google Scholar more effectively. And then something else cool about Google Scholar is you can actually create alerts, and we're going to go through that. But how do I, know if I'm researching a topic or I just want to learn more about it? How do I know when new research has been published about it? Well, you can create an alert, and that alert will send you notifications when new research has been published about your topic. And this is a great way to stay on top of current literature or current articles that are coming out constantly about your topic. So let's go ahead and jump into Google Scholar. You can do this by just, going to Google and doing Google Scholar, or you can go to scholar.google.com. Either of those will work well for this. And as we think about Google Scholar, the very first thing I want you guys to do as you begin to think about how am I going to use Google Scholar, what does that look like? I want you guys to go over to this 3-menu bar over here. It looks kind of like a hamburger, right? And from there, I want you to go down to the settings. This should be your very first step. Because if you go over here to the list of settings where it says search results, languages, and library links, if you click on the one that says library links, that is how you can add the integration to the Park University Library, so that you can see what kind of results we have to access for free. So all you have to do here, it's so easy. All you have to do is search for Park University and press the search bar, and it's going to pull up all the different libraries that have Park University within them. And you'll see we're this third one right here, Park University Library. I'm going to check that box, and then all I have to do is press save, right? Once I've pressed save, it'll bring me back to my Google Scholar search bar, and I can begin searching. So if I just wanted to do a practice search here, let's say that I am doing a report on Elizabeth Holmes. She was a founder of a biotech company that was a fraudulent company, okay? So if I started searching for her, and I press search here, you'll see that now on this left hand or on the right hand side, it has Park University Library. And that means that we have access to that resource through the library. That's a really great perk, because sometimes, if you can see this one right here, There's no link to it. That means we might not have it. And if I clicked on this, I would be brought to the vendor or the publisher's website. And unfortunately, it would say, sorry, you have to pay for this. So we want to try and get you as many resources for free as possible. And when you see this Park University library link right here, that means that we have access to it and we can get it for you through our databases. And when I click on that, it's going to push me through to our library website. As you can see, this text is in JSTOR. It's going to go through our library authentication and bring me eventually to JSTOR. And I'll be able to read that article right away from here. And again, that is a resource that's provided for us by the library, our Park University library. So integrating that is a really key feature that I want you guys to remember as you begin searching with Google Scholar. It's going to make your searches much less frustrating if you can do that. The other thing that will make your searches less frustrating, kind of streamline your searching here, is if we go to Google Scholar and we can actually do an advanced search. So like you saw, I just searched for Elizabeth Holmes here, but you'll see that I'm kind of getting all kinds of random results, including this author, right? There is an author named Elizabeth Holmes who is not the Elizabeth Holmes that I am looking for. So that's not really helpful, right? All the articles are being pulled for this author who is not who I'm looking for. So what I can do here is actually go into Google Scholar and go to my advanced search. Again, I just clicked on that little hamburger icon, that menu bar that has the 3 lines, and go down to advanced search. And this advanced search is a little bit different than our library databases, right? Our library databases actually use Boolean search operators, whereas Google Scholar takes a little bit of a different approach. They use all kinds of different menu bars, things like with all the words or with the exact phrase, right? So if I were going to search in here, I could fill in this search bar and say different things. So I could say, with all the words, I could do, let's change our topic here. We could do like mental health, right? And then with the exact phrase, we could do social media, because we want anything to do with like mental or health or have both of those in combination. But we're looking for the exact phrase social media. So that can help you. You could also say, I want my words to occur in the article or in the title, right? I could say, I only want articles authored by, this author. I could say only articles by this person. I'm looking specific for this article. And you don't have to fill in all of these. You can fill in as many as you want or as many as helpful. So for example, if I'm only looking for articles authored by Joe Smith, I could just write Joe Smith in here, and that could be the only search criteria. And it would pull all of the Joe Smiths that are out there, which I'm sure there are a lot of them, right? So that would be a great way to kind of narrow our search to just be the author. Now, thinking back to my Elizabeth Holmes search and how we got a lot of articles that weren't really relevant, another great way to do that is by using a few symbols and syntax to tell Google Scholar what we're looking for. So there are a few different ways that we can do that. This again is an advanced search technique. We're doing more advanced searching within Google Scholar. So we could say we want anything to do, or we could say we're looking for, let's do mental health again. So if we go to our mental health search, we could do anything with mental health, but not anything with like physical health. Let's say that's our topic. We could use this operator of a dash or like a hyphen here to exclude something from our search. So if we did that dash, we could do physical, and then that dash again will tell Google Scholar we're looking for anything to do with mental health, but nothing to do with physical health, right? So if I did that, it's going to exclude anything with physical. And again, that's our little dashes here, or a hyphen, if you will. I could also use another symbol. If I did, let's do mental health. and let's do teenagers. Okay, let's say I'm looking for anything to do with mental health and like youth or teenagers or adolescents or children or things like that. If I use this little symbol that is I don't actually know the official term. So someone, if you know it, put it in the chat or shout it out, but it's the squiggle. I don't know what the term is, but you know, like the little squiggle thing that is above the tab button on your keyboard here. That is going to tell our Google Scholar engine that this means we are looking for anything that is a synonym for teenager, right? How cool is that? That little squiggle will tell the database or tell Google Scholar that we're looking for synonyms for that word. So it could be teenager, it could be teen, it could be adolescent, it could be youth. Anything like that is going to pull those. So if we click search again here, you'll see that there's lots of different results, and it might be pulling things from other terms that are related or a synonym for teenagers. I could also, again, go back to our search and do author, right? I could do, okay, this is going to be, let's see. I want to do any article that's written by Joe Smith and do it like that. So I could do it in my advanced search, or I could write author with like a little 2 dots and then do the author's name. And again, that would return any results that are written by Joe Smith. But something that I could also do in the case of my Elizabeth Holmes predicament where I got the author, I could do Elizabeth Holmes. And I could combine my operator that excluded things, so like the little hyphen there, and I could do minus or the hyphen, and then I could do author Elizabeth Holmes. So this would tell the database that we're looking for anything to do with Elizabeth Holmes as a subject, rather than looking for something written by someone named Elizabeth Holmes. So that's a really great way that we can combine them. Again, if we're looking for the author, we just put author in brackets like that with their name. But we're also combining that dash or that subtraction symbol to say we're looking not for that. We're looking for anything but that. So it's a great way that we can combine these. And all of these operators or syntax are listed on a resource that I have given you. So don't feel like you have to write everything down and remember everything today. I'm just kind of showing you how we do this practically, right? How to put this in action. So if I did that, I would be able to find resources like that. Oops. Sorry, you guys, I messed up the syntax a little bit. We have to put all of it in arc bracket. So that's a great way that we can explore searching, explore Google Scholar. There's a lot of really fun ways that we can continue to explore and continue to utilize Google Scholar and try out different topics and things like that. There are some things that I also want to show you that are built into Google Scholar. So if I did, again, our search of Elizabeth Holmes, and let's add in Theranos, which was her company. I could find lots of different resources, but let's say that I just want to go through and find resources and I want to read them later, okay? The way that we can do that is by actually saving them to our library on Google Scholar. And a great way to do that is by clicking this save button that's right underneath the article, right? So we want to read this one. We can press the save button, and this will add a label to it. I could add it to my reading list. I could add it to any of these labels that I have created. I created one for my EN 106 class, and I created one that said read or to be read or things like that. And I can also create a new one. So I could do my E. Holmes report, let's just say. And that would allow me to go through and save the different articles that I want to read later. Another awesome feature is I can cite my resource. I can pull the citation. So if I'm doing an APA citation, or I'm doing an APA paper about Elizabeth Holmes, I could grab that APA citation, save it, and put it into my Works Cited. And that way, I have it all ready to go right there. I can also set up an alert for when there's new research, because let's say that this is a really up and coming topic. Things are happening all the time. New advances are coming out. I believe the Elizabeth Holmes trial just ended, but let's say we were in the middle of the trial and we were really excited to hear, what's going on with the trial, things like that. We can create an alert. So over here on this left-hand side, there's a button that says Create Alert. And this is going to allow me to put in an alert and get, notifications every time something new is published. And remember, this is different from our library databases. This could include a whole lot of different articles, open access resources, trial information, things like that. You can push your email up in here. This is through my own personal Gmail, but if you did your Park University email, it would send it to there. You can press change email, and then I can press create alert, and it's going to find anything and send me emails or digests that are related to articles from this search. And that's a great way to stay on top of new and upcoming research, especially if it's a topic you're really interested in. Speaking of this left-hand side, there are a few ways that we can also filter our results. So if we wanted to, we could say, well, I'm only looking for articles on the most up-to-date information. I want to read about the trial that Elizabeth Holmes went through. So I could press since 2021 and find all of the information that's been published since 2021. I could also do a custom date range. I could say, I want only from her early days. I want to see, when she was up and coming. I could do 2011 to 2015, right? And press search and see if I get anything from there. We could also do different kinds of information, include citations, include patents. And something else that's really cool when we look at our search results is you can actually see, how many times each article has been cited. So that might be relevant because we want to see, okay, what kinds of resources are using that article, right? If there's a resource that's been cited 20 times, it might be different than an article that's been cited 200,000 times, right? It looks really different. So these are all things to take into account. And it's really interesting to be able to have all of that right at our fingertips. We can also click on related articles, and that's going to give us a list of articles that might be related to that original one. So if you find the perfect article, you can click on related articles and find additional resources that might be relevant to your research. Okay, I think that is pretty much everything I wanted to cover here. Let me just go back to our slides here and finish off. I did want to show you that there's a few resources if you need additional assistance. We love providing these webinars and these research seminars for you, but if you need additional assistance, you want to learn more about Google Scholar, you have any trouble with it, feel free to come in for a personal research consultation. I do those as well as our library director, Danielle, does those, and we would love to meet with you. You can schedule that on our homepage, library.park.edu, and you can schedule directly on our calendar. I also want to show you our library guide. So under that Google Drive folder, which I will put that link in the chat again, but you'll get it in your email as well. We actually have a full guide on our library website that is about Google Scholar. And this has everything that I have covered today, including, what does Google Scholar find? What doesn't it find? What are the pros and cons of using it? There's also information about how to link it to our Park University library, and it will, give you direct examples and screenshots of how to get there. It will also give you some basic searching tips and our more, advanced search tips. So how to sort through our results list, how to save your results to your library and look at the citations and things like that. And of course, there is advanced search tips on here. So all the things that I've been over today, how to search through the advanced search, how to use that phraseology and that syntax, all of that is in here there as well. So don't feel like if you didn't catch it the first time, there's no way to learn about it, because we have all of it listed here for your benefit. We also have a video from Faculty Resources about how to connect your Google Scholar account with the Park Library, as well as how to post your articles that you've written if you're a faculty member onto Google Scholar for that to be found. And then one thing I get a lot of questions about when I think about Google Scholar is, well, why would I use this? Why would it be any different than, using a library website, especially if I get a paywall when I'm trying to find articles? And the one thing I would say is, when you're doing a literature review, whether you're a student or you're a faculty member, the goal of our literature review is to find the full scope of the literature out there that is surrounding your topic, right? You want to go out and you want to find the articles that are being talked about. You want to see what the scholarly conversation is happening around your topic. That's a really important part of your literature review. And sometimes if you use the library exclusively, you might not see that full scope because we're only showing you the ones that we have access to. So if you do a quick search on Google Scholar and you're finding a lot of conversation in the scholarly community that your topic is about that isn't on our Park Library website, it might be great to go in and just find those articles, because then you can request them via interlibrary loan. Our interlibrary loan system is awesome, you guys. We provide articles to you for free through our partner libraries, right? So Park University is a small library, but we have access to libraries all across the United States, all across Missouri and Kansas City that have so many resources. So if I found, for example, this article and it gave me a paywall, let's say I couldn't see it, what I can do is I can grab that citation and go to our resources on Google Scholar, go to interlibrary loan and request that journal article. And that way you can still find the resources on Google Scholar, and then we can send you the full text right away. Well, it'll take maybe 1 to 3-ish days. We're usually pretty fast. Sometimes it depends on how quickly the other library can get them to us. But we have a fantastic interlibrary loan employee here, and she does such great work and it gets our requests in lickety split super fast. So this is a great way, again, to use Google Scholar and the library in harmony, not just linking our library resources, but also using it to find conversation and things in the scholar conversation within your discipline or within your topic, and then using that to request articles through interlibrary loan. Okay, I am going to stop talking and I'm going to see if you guys have any other questions for me before we wrap up for today. Feel free to either put it in the chat or unmute or raise your hand. Go ahead, Amber.
Yeah, thanks so much, Camille. I love using Google Scholar, and it's exciting to find some more of the advanced features that you shared with us today. So thank you so much. One question I did have, I loved the feature where you could kind of save and create it within your own folders like that. Is there a way to link that to, like, let's say Mendeley or Zotero or some of your other kind of repositories for that type of work as well, or not?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Let's get out of this and go back into our Google Scholar here. So once you've done and you've saved the articles that you want to go back to your library, the way that you view those is actually by going back to our 3-dash menu, hamburger menu, and you go into My Library. And you'll see here, you have all of the resources that you've saved overall. You can filter by going to your reading list or your reports or your labels or filters that you've created. So let's say I wanted to look at this one. And the thing that you can do here is you can actually export them. There's 4 different file types, and you can then import them into Mendeley or Zotero or whatever if it supports this file type. I think BibTeX is LaTeX, and I'm not sure what all of these other ones look like. I haven't played around with it that much, but it is possible if you can export it and then put it into one of those.
All right, fantastic. Thanks so much.
That's a great question. Any other questions? All right. Well, if you guys think of anything else, please feel free to contact me. I'm going to put my contact information up on the screen. Thank you all so much for joining us for our first How To Tuesday of the semester. This is a great way to learn just little bits and tricks and small amounts of information that bite-sized information that you can apply right away. So we would love to hear about how you're using Google Scholar. Again, you'll get an email tomorrow with the information, including a link to the recording, a link to my slides, and a link to all the resources we talked about, including that library guide about Google Scholar. If you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We also have a 24/7 chat service. So if you are up tonight, you're playing around with it and you have questions that are further questions, please feel free to utilize that. They are really knowledgeable and can help you with anything that you need. Thank you again, everyone, for attending today. And thank you for joining us online if you're watching back this recording later. I'll stick around for a few minutes if you have any additional questions, but otherwise, thank you all so much. Bye-bye.